When he was reviled, he didn't revile in return. When he was suffering, he didn't threaten. I'll get you, man. You shouldn't have did that. You better be watching your back. Do we ever talk like this? Sleep light, man. But see, when he suffered, when he didn't threaten. Look what he did. Look what he did. This is faith. Verse 23, the end of it. Look at this. But he simply committed himself to him who judges righteously. What did he do? He lived his life before the one that knew him and knew the truth. Because he wasn't trying to find his identity from men. He was never vulnerable to men. But because we're trying to find our identity through each other, we are made or broke by each other. And that's why relationships have been so... Yeah? I don't know about y'all. I've been in the South a while. I don't know about y'all. I'm from Pennsylvania. I don't know about y'all. But I want to follow Jesus. I don't want to hold on to what he never created me for. I don't want to live what doesn't reveal him. People say life is tough. I know what they're trying to say, but they actually mean it like life is hard. I don't think it is. I think life's a gift. And I got this one little window called life, a wisp and a vapor. Here today, gone tomorrow. I'm only 62, but it was a wisp. Sounds old to some of you young faces over there. You're like, I'm a fossil. Like when I was 30, 62 was old. But I don't feel like a fossil. Here today, I'm telling stories 40 years old, and it sounds like it feels like it was yesterday. Because life's float, skate, and you ain't stopping. It's a gift. You got this one little window called life. And all of hell is pressing on the thing that God made for his image called people. And seeking who he can devour. Just looking like a roaring lion. Just looking for compromise, vulnerability, lack of sincerity. Making sure we all go to church, we just never shine. Making sure we all do our daily devotions, we just don't even think about pursuing walking in love. And all of a sudden we're a Christian because of the things we do instead of what we've become. Now we go on a mission trip, and now we used to get fed because we were hungry. Now we're feeding the hungry, and we feel like spiritual. But you mad at people. You're insecure. Are you following me? And then all of a sudden the things you do for him take the place of knowing him. But knowing him is the only thing that changes your life. Are you with me? That's why people serve for years, do things for years, and now ain't even living Jesus. You've seen the stories in your life. He used to be on fire. No, he was probably finding his identity through what he was doing, and it caught up with him. And he grew weary in well-doing. And you think he was on fire. So now you ain't on fire, and you're like, well, see, people don't always stay on fire. I knew this man of God, he was on fire. No, he probably wasn't on fire. He was probably finding his identity through the badge he was wearing. And his heart got weary in well-doing. Yeah? I just come to bring it straight. I didn't drive all this way to sugarcoat nothing. I mean, we ought to just say it. And you can tell I'm being nice. I ain't mean. I really don't know how to be mean. I can be intense, but it's never mean. Why? Because God wants to show us these things so we become what he paid for. And in that process, it exposes what doesn't look like him. And that way he can pull us out of darkness into the light, because there's this real war going on. The kingdom of darkness against light. And he can't defeat God. He can't possibly stop God. He can't defeat God. He can't come up with a plan big enough and smart enough to go in and take over heaven. So he'll just try to stop heaven on the earth and go after us. The thing that's made for his image. The only reason life feels like a grind is because we live it outside of purpose. And we don't have no grace from God to live it because He ain't going to fill the gas tank to drive on roads you ain't even supposed to be on. Why is He filling your tank to live what you ain't here for? That's why people are dry, angry, frustrated. And then they think it's God's fault because He ain't blessing them. And they'll find a reason. Self-centeredness will blame it on everybody and even God, just to protect itself. Man, don't you live in that prison. I'm telling you, it's the biggest lockdown. I keep hearing it in my heart all night to say it over and over. It's the biggest lockdown you've ever been in. You talk about life behind bars, life self-centered. Guess what He said? Unless a seed dies and falls to the ground. He didn't say unless he doesn't pray the sinner's prayer. He said unless he dies and falls to the ground, he abides alone. But if he dies and falls to the ground, he'll spring up and bear much. Each seed after its own kind. Who's the fruit? It's unto God. It's Christlikeness. Jesus was the seed. He fell to the ground and died. He sprung up. He's bearing much fruit. Not church attendance, Christlikeness. You know them by their fruit. In this the Father's well pleased, John 15, that you bear much fruit. And that your fruit remain. That means it's sincere and legit. And you're rooted and grounded on the rock, and life ain't changing it, and time ain't changing it, and your story ain't changing it. You're in. You're not out. You're in, and you're in to stay. It's fruit that remains. Yeah? And then He's going to prune you so you bear more. You're already bearing fruit. And He says, let me clip this and this and this, and they're going to be a loaded tree. Now you're a loaded tree, just manifesting Jesus. People are picking of you, picking peace and forgiveness and mercy and encouragement, and you just keep, it just keeps coming out. And then He clips a couple more, you're just loaded with fruit. And then you stand before God. Good job, man. Well done, man. You understood why I was in you. You understood why I gave my life. You didn't make it about you. You made it about my great name and the sake of others. Awesome. Come on in. Faith understands what I'm saying. Feelings, emotions, and you want somebody to acknowledge the hell you've been through, doesn't understand. Come on, I'm not being insensitive. We could start down here on the end and go the whole way down the row, the whole way to the back, and tell everybody's ugly story. And there'd be a whole lot of them, and you'd think yours is bad until you heard theirs. And all we'd do at the end is find out who's been through the most hell. And then what? Sing it's all about heaven? No, you wouldn't even have the faith to touch them because you ain't been through their thing. And they wouldn't even let you touch them because you don't understand. And it accomplishes nothing. Looking at the past accomplishes nothing. You put your hand to the plow and you never look back. You're not Lot's wife, frozen between where you were delivered and where you're supposed to be. Frozen, looking back, never making it. You're not Lot's wife. You're his bride. You look up from whence comes your help and you never look back. Old things are, behold, all things. Yeah? I'm not a 4-year-old that was touched wrong. I'm a 62-year-old filled with the Spirit of God. And I know Him, and I'm going to know Him more. And I'm going to keep walking in love and manifest Him. I'm going to have a whole lot of fruit when I stand in front of Him that day. Why? Because I didn't wake up for you to love me. I woke up to be more like Him. Are you hearing me? There ain't nothing I said that you can't live if you want to. So I guess a message like this just boils down to exposing where your want to is. And it ain't me to figure that out and judge you. It's your life that reveals that. See, it ain't you saying you have faith. The life you live reveals what you believe. The life you live reveals what you want. And I understand some people have struggles and deceptions. We can work them through. But that means you're working through too. That means you're cooperating. That means you're teachable. That means you're yielding. That doesn't mean you have attitude and you're like, whatever. See? You can't say, well, I just don't understand. You need to cut me a break. But you don't want to be teachable and humble and submit and surrender. Come on, man, we're in this together. We don't look nothing like each other, but we can all look like him. That's the unity of faith. That's oneness. That every day we wake up, this house has the same reason for being. That we all wake up to be more like him. Wonder if everybody in this ministry sincerely would go in that direction where we all say, you know what, let's just go for this. When we wake up in the morning, it's not a day to complain. Here we go again. Oh, man, I got this today. Oh, this is Tuesday. I got this on Tuesday. I hate that, man. No. I'm done complaining because it's not about me anymore. And every time you complain, you reveal to the devil, it's all about you, and your preferences are lowered. But every time you don't complain, you're humble, you're submitted, and you're surrendered. Wonder if everybody in this ministry, and the whole time you're going through whatever level you're in this ministry, wonder if you're in the heart of this program, going through the program, wonder if everybody tonight, just in this message, would just sincerely at some level say, you know what? I'm just going to wake up to be more like him. That's going to be my prayer. That's going to be my talk to God. That's going to be my talk with each other. And man, we can do this thing. We can all wake up for the same reason and be one. I'll bet we could. Now here's the cool thing about it. Even if somebody chooses not to, that shouldn't change your want to. And all of a sudden, if 20 people don't want to, that shouldn't change your want to. Watch this. I'm going to be a little weird with this one. You could all shout me down right now, tell me I'm a kook, and get up and leave. I'm still called to live Jesus. I still got to handle my convictions. I still got to walk out today and tomorrow. See, your response to what I'm saying has nothing to do with truth. Oops. You get it? I'm going to stay free. And you're going to stay angry because if you have that attitude, you will be angry. Everything's motivating you and moving you. You're in the prison. I mean, you're mad at me for saying that if you're there. If you live there, you're mad at me and you'll blame me. Well, he was just pushing my buttons. Get rid of your buttons. Well, he was doing it on purpose. Well, if you didn't have buttons, you wouldn't even think that way. So Jesus talking, who does he think he is? Jesus, the truth, is talking, and they're deciding if he's right. And if he brought it the way he should. First time he preached, they went, what? They said, ain't nobody talk with this authority. They're looking at each other, ain't none of the teachers speak like this. He keeps talking, and then they go, hey, is he talking about us? I think he is. Kill him. They went from nobody talks like this to kill him. That's a pretty schizo crowd. Don't you live there? We got enough evidence that we're called to change, and we can. By his Spirit and by his grace. I will show you one more verse and I'm going to be done. 8:30.